My name is Meg. I'm a travel specialist here at Global Base Camps, and today I'll be talking to you about traveling in Nepal. The best time to travel to Nepal really will depend on what your objectives are going to be for this trip. Most people who travel to Nepal like to go there for trekking or rafting or some sort of adventure travel sport. The best time for trekking is really going to be between, I'd say, about October and November, and then maybe February through March. Anytime from about June until September is going to be pretty bad because of the monsoon season. So there are leeches and it's muddy and it's just not good for trekking. Rafting is similar. Actually, the rafting season, it can go from October till maybe into December. So there's a little bit more room as far as if you're going to be there for rafting. It's a huge mecca for trekking and adventure travel sports. So a lot of people go to Nepal to go for a trek. So if you want to do that as well as experience the culture, see the temples and sites in the Kathmandu Valley, spend some time relaxing on the lake in Pokhara, then you'll probably want to spend, at least, I would say if you can, 3 weeks there. A trek, I would say, if you want to do a really good trek up in the Himalayan region, it's called the ABC trek or the Annapurna Base Camp trek. That can take anywhere from about, I'd say, 8 to 10 days, depending on your pace. And that is a short flight away from Kathmandu. If you have a lot more time, you want to do the Everest Base Camp trek, that's a longer trek, about 15 days. If you want to do the Annapurna Circuit trek, that's about 21 days. If you have a limited amount of time, you can do the Halambu Longtong trek, which is about 5 days, and that's from outside Kathmandu Valley. So if you have a limited amount of time and you want to do a short trek, see the Kathmandu Valley, you can see a lot and experience a lot in Nepal in about 10 days. But I would say 10 days is your minimum. 3 weeks would be ideal. So basically, again, there's the different circuits or different routes, different treks that are available, and again, these all range in duration, and they also range in how intense they are and the amount of physical activity that's involved. But for all treks, pretty much there are full support treks, which is when you have porters, guides, cooks, follow you up the mountain carrying all your stuff, and every single night that they set up a tented campsite for you. Those are full support guided treks. Then there's also tea house treks, which are really popular and highly recommended. They're less expensive because you're not requiring your porters and your Sherpas to carry as much equipment up the mountain. You get to sleep in local tea houses, local guest houses, so you're supporting the local economy. These people, when you're checking out through the middle of the mountains, in the middle of the nowhere, you see that there are these villages all scattered throughout the country, all throughout the mountains, and these people rely heavily on tourists to come through and support them with their guest houses and their tea houses. The best way to travel around the country, I would say, again, it really depends on the time that you have available. You can, typically if you're a backpacker and you have extended amount of time to be there, then you can travel for next to nothing on the public bus system. They don't really have, their tourist bus are similar to just the public bus systems. They're pretty crazy, and they're not the safest thing, mode of transportation in Nepal. But it can get you from A to B, and it's quite inexpensive, and hopefully there's no mudslide and takes your bus off the road, which does happen often, unfortunately. Anyway, otherwise, if you have a little bit more money and a little less time, I would say fly. Well, through the countryside, the more remote areas that you go, of course, there's not going to be kind of westernized type hotels, but it's been a major popular tourist destination since the 70s, so they are used to tourists. They have lots of guest houses, anything from minimal standard basic backpacker lodging to some beautiful heritage boutique hotels and some high-end resorts recently. And then food options, they have tons of stuff. Again, in Kathmandu, Pokhara, and the main tourist places, the more popular destinations, of course, there's a lot more options to choose from. The more remote you get, the more basic the food is, and your choices aren't as varied. but the local food is fantastic, and the people are great. And so no matter where you end up, you will be comfortable and you'll be happy.